What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Bro Dude, and today is a very somber day here at the You Know Ball podcast. No Joel Embiid, no Tyrese Maxey, no James Harden, all out due to injury. Ben Simmons and the fully healthy Nets coming to town for a national TV game this week. It is just really, really tough right now. But you know what's not tough? Not tough at all. Is signing up for Underdog Fantasy, the best and newest place to play fantasy sports and win big prizes. And today, if you use my promo code SLOP, S-L-O-P, you can get a $100 deposit match bonus when you sign up for Underdog. So once you sign up for Underdog, we're going to make things a little bit more fun this week. It sucks to be a Sixers fan right now. So on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm going to be doing Underdog drafts, where you do a classic 6-player snake draft, and whoever has the most points at the end of the night takes home all the money. So we're going to be competing against each other, me, you, other You Know Ball listeners. It's going to be a ton of fun. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sign up, use that $100 deposit match, and then follow me on Twitter, and I'll be tweeting out links during the day. If you're not able to join the fantasy drafts, you can also use Pick'em on Underdog Fantasy, where on any given night, you can win up to 20 times your money. What you're going to want to do is just go to any player stats, and over the next few weeks, you might get some funny ones for the Sixers, like Shake Milton. Any Shake Milton fans out there, you might be able to go higher or lower on his stats, depending on what you're feeling that night. They offer all kinds of players across the NBA every single night, and all you have to do is hit higher or lower on their points, rebounds, and assists, and you can win real money on any given night. So if you have not already, please sign up for Underdog today using the promo code SLOP, S-L-O-P. It supports me, it supports the podcast, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing things with Underdog this season. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Bro Dude, and as we keep chugging along in this incredible season that we are having here for the Philadelphia 76ers, had to have on old friend, many-time guest, and someone that at least I can cope with and Sam can laugh at us. We have Mike Chiodo, a.k.a. Phil's Team of Destiny. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on? Good. How you guys?
Doing well. I actually just finished. I don't watch soccer, but I decided to hop on the USA bandwagon, and I turned the game on, and immediately they had a penalty against them, and they had a penalty.
The guy, it's good. I don't know.
Oh, it is good. Oh,
I think if they tie, it sets them up well. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I don't follow any soccer, anything related to that, but I know that guy also hit a big shot against the Philadelphia Union a month ago when I jumped on that bandwagon, and I also ruined the Phillies bandwagon too. It's great.
No, Phil's is fine. I mean, it's way cooler to not win a World Series. Actually, if we're being honest, that's just a lot of trouble. Why? What's the point of winning a World Series?
And just
about the memories,
right? And just as far as the World Cup stuff, I mean, look, we're gonna get England. You have to think that they're gonna put in, Stephen Cold Whip Snot at some point. And he's had a remarkable season for Watford so far.
Yeah.
So, I feel like USA really shot themselves in the foot, letting Grumpo Flimblesnitch score that penalty kick today for Wales. So it's tough, but we'll see. We'll see what happens
tomorrow.
Will they be able to rebound?
I just have one comment. No follow-ups. Tomorrow we are all Belgium. No follow-ups. No follow-ups.
Everyone will be wearing their gold member.
Who are they playing?
You can probably figure it out, but no follow-ups.
Canada? Did Canada make the World Cup? I don't.
Do not say my name. Do not show my picture. Do not do anything.
Just a thought. We're all Belgium tomorrow.
All Belgium.
I just said it for reasons. I'm not. It's just a thought that came to my mind.
Yeah. Go Brussels.
Waffle time, baby.
So that's their saying for this World Cup. Yeah. It's waffle time, baby.
Waffle mode. I'm going waffle mode on a level never seen before.
This man is is going sicko on waffles. All right.
This is our NBA podcast. Let's go.
Welcome to it. We're talking about all things NBA, including our beautiful Philadelphia 76ers, who since the last time we spoke, Embiid and Maxey have both passed away. RIP to their feet. It's unbelievable. I should never be shocked with Sixers medical concerns or issues that they have, But it really is unbelievable that in a 2-week span, that the 3 best players on the team all had separate foot injuries. So now Maxey is out 2 to 3 weeks. Embiid is out the next 2 games. Probably shouldn't have even finished that Timberwolves game. Oh, and by the way, Sam, before you got in here, me and Mike were talking, and I was saying we were talking about our at the end of the podcast, we're going to do the Mulligans from the preseason. And I was saying that every time that we say something, the opposite happens. So like, oh, we made fun of the Warriors, then they blew out a team and whatever.
Yeah, their season's going great.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's definitely not back on track yet.
Yeah.
But the Timberwolves, last time we made fun of the Timberwolves, and I expected the Sixers to just get destroyed by them because of it. And the Sixers lost that game, but I actually came out of that game feeling worse about the Timberwolves than I did going into it. They were up like 20 points, and the Sixers almost came back and won on the back of Shake Milton.
If D'Anthony Melton doesn't blow that layup, I mean, they win. They win the game.
They literally won the game. It came, and also I think he might have been fouled on that play as well.
The Wolves, that would have been like the worst loss of the season.
You almost have to like trade someone or fire a coach or do something. It's a very
Sixers-like loss.
I literally said the entire game. I feel like the Sixers,
19-20 Sixers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like they're playing against the Sixers right now, is what I said while I was watching the Sixers play against them. I was like, so we've somehow managed to play against ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Maxey's out, Embiid's out. I don't really know what else to say. Like, I feel like we joke about Doc being better without talent, and they're obviously competing in these games still, even down Harden and Maxey. They beat the Bucks at home, but at this point, I'm just kind of like, where are they going to be in 2 weeks from now? Like, Mike, I think you had said their schedule coming up is like pretty difficult.
Yeah, so they have this week. They play Brooklyn tomorrow night, obviously, but then they have Charlotte, Orlando, which are 3 easy games. But now Embiid might be out all 3.
Yeah.
And then after that, next week, they have Memphis, Atlanta, Cleveland in some order. And those
and
are
the
3
Nets
games.
are finally at full strength, too.
Yeah. So you're going to have Memphis, Atlanta, Cleveland in some order, missing Maxey and Harden. So those are 3 losses in all likelihood.
Well, I will say they always steal one of these games.
Yeah.
Like, they'll always...
And then they'll give it back with, like, Charlotte.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, they'll probably keep the Brooklyn game competitive at the very least. Like, it will be like tied at halftime, and we'll be like, "What the?" Although Tobias is playing now, and as Mike said,
yeah, that's a loss now.
If you have Tobias, like Furkan and Shake and Melvin, in order to unlock them, Tobias can't play.
Yeah, I just need a Shake. Like, just go Shake ISO game. Shake, do whatever you want.
Go Devin Booker mode.
Now we got to watch Tobias post up whoever.
I mean, I think that I think it's I just can't imagine. I cannot imagine even the Nets, even the shit show Nets, and as crazy if they have been.
Yeah,
I've been watching them recently, and yeah, they had that really shitty game against the Kings that they probably should not have gotten destroyed on national television. But they have actually looked pretty good since Jacques Vaughn took over. Like, I've watched a few of their games. At first I was watching because I just like to watch them lose, but now they're actually winning some games. Ben Simmons looks normal, and honestly looked really good last night, but they were playing against the Grizzlies without their 3 best players. So it's kind of hard to really gauge how good
I feel like
that Nets team is.
I feel like these games always go the same way, where they're missing everybody. It's on national TV with the crowd. The crowd will keep them in it. They'll have a huge run. They'll be up 10 in the midway through the third, and then the Nets will come back and they'll lose by 2. And we'll be like, great effort, but then we're going to be 8-9 with another tough game coming up. And
I'll fulfill my role as number 1 Sixers fan on this podcast, and I will say that I quite frankly don't think Ben Simmons is built for this. I think everyone is forgiving.
I don't think he's built for it at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're misunderstanding how weird Ben is going to be. Ben is essentially a cat. in human form. He is cat person essay, but just the basketball version of that. Like, so like, every once in a while, your little guy, he'll come down, he'll be cute and cuddly, he'll give you your 18, 6 and 3 or whatever. I'm predicting a vomit on the couch, vomit on your girlfriend's electric blanket night for Ben tonight. This is not
okay.
He's not built for this.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Love the analogy. I think that Ben definitely is like, he also at one point bought like a $10,000 cat, and then within a week it was like gone. He like got it from the wild or something.
Care for it. They passed it over to Lena Dunham to care for. Never heard from again. I think Lena Dunham is the only person who, like, adopting animals is a crueler fate awaits them than if you just like launch them out of the trebuchet into a wall of euthanasia. Like, anyway,
we at one point I think I did compare. I think I literally compared Ben to Lena Dunham's character on Girls, with his moving to Brooklyn, lack of self-awareness, millennial kind of emotionally.
Everybody loves them.
Yeah. Oh, loves them. Yeah, exactly.
Universe sky high approval ratings for both of them.
Yeah. Dated Adam Driver. But my big question for tomorrow night, the only thing I care about going into this Nets game, because apparently Claxton's going to be back too. Like, they're just too talented to lose a game like this. But I'm trying to reverse jinx them, but like I don't really think it's going to work. But the question to me is, does Doc do Hack-a-Ben? Does he do it from the jump? Does he do it from the jump? Does he do it in the second half when the Sixers can't score? Does he do it or they can't stop the Nets? Like, where does he try it? I feel like he's just such an uncreative coach. Like, I know that he does better with lesser talent, but like, it's really like he doesn't try anything outside of the box ever. So has he ever tried whatever against someone? And this would be the perfect situation to do it.
Yeah, Hack-a-Ben's a must tomorrow. I mean, Michael Foster Jr. and Julian Champagny, what are they here for if you can't use those 12 fouls? Even Jaden, no, he's out. That's right. Jaden Springer's out. There's just 6 fouls gone. But yeah, you got to use Hack-a-Ben. If nothing else, just for the content. I also need B-Ball Paul to block Ben Simmons once on a transition dunk. That'd be nice.
That's what I was going to say. We're freeing B-Ball Paul.
I feel like we're definitely getting a B-Ball Paul moment. Yeah,
I was going to say this is a B-Ball Paul game if I've ever seen one. Also, they were feeding it to Steven Adams in the post yesterday because Ben just isn't big enough to deal with a center that big. I mean, Paul Reed's smaller than Ben Simmons, but I would imagine that they'll try to get them as involved as possible because the Nets' interior defense is not good.
I'd say the odds of Trez and Ben getting into it is like minus 250 at some point.
100%.
I would love Ben. I would love Doc to go to Hack-a-Ben just because I think that from almost independent of the Sixers, it has the ability to just completely destroy the Nets season, strictly in terms of press conferences that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant would give afterwards if they lost that game. Like, how fun, KD, like, sitting on the podium, if he shot like 20 free throws, he'd be like mad. He'd be saying like, that isn't basketball. And then he'd be like, Ben has to like do better. And then he'd be like, by the end of the night, he'd be quote tweeting like Ben fan 269 or, let's pick like a really weird like
Cookies Hoops.
I was just teeing up that joke, and in my head I was like, I don't know if I want to make that. I'll let it die. But I just think that it would be. I think it would be a delight to see the Nets media reaction.
Although I must push back on one thing you said, where you said it could destroy the Nets season. I think all things considered, if Kyrie Irving goes to the press conference and is talking about Ben Simmons free throws, that would be a welcome distraction for the Nets right now.
Well, depends on where he credits the free throws coming from. So it could go off the rails pretty easily. Just based on some of the things he said in the past.
He is he's only answering basketball questions from now on, so don't worry about that.
I'm sure he'll stick to that.
So since we talked about, it was funny because when Harden got injured, I was like, I feel bad, but I don't feel like season going off the rails bad. But at this point, like, Would be really nice to have our pick. I'll say that much. I don't think that they're ever going to be. I think over the course of an entire season, it's going to be a real struggle for them not to they'll make the play in if everyone is relatively healthy. Unless these injuries are worse than we think, I think they'll get back on track and at worst case scenario, they'll be 500, but it would be really the one time that Morey has ever traded an unprotected pick.
Seriously, I feel like there's 3 Morey interviews out there where he's like, you never trade unprotected picks ever.
He always does.
What. And he traded an unprotected pick with the next LeBron in the draft class. It's probably not 99% chance it doesn't matter. But
so my thought behind that is a 99 chance. I agree. But real quick, my thought was he gave it the 2022-2023 option, which was weird.
Yeah.
Which they could say, we could take it now or we could wait until next year. And maybe his thought process was, well, if the Nets blow it up, maybe they'll just take the pick. Or maybe they'll try to trade the pick and they actually did end up trading the pick, but they put protections on the pick so that the Jazz can't get it if it's Wemby, basically. Or any of the top 4 or whatever.
But I was thinking when Embiid was on the ground the other night, and at first it looked really bad.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have our pick. So if something like that happens, and it could happen, it's just you have it. Put a top 1 protection on it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I've heard him say in interviews with Bill Simmons, I don't trade unprotected picks. I think that's something that can ruin your franchise for a decade. Which is we all knew that Wemby was coming in the 2023 draft. I don't think we're even going to be in the conversation. I mean,
no, I don't think I don't think there's any chance except if Embiid were to go down.
Sure.
And even then, you'd probably be fine. You need Harden to go down. But
I still think they'd win 30 games. I would say this.
If Embiid were to go down, it would be nice to have the option to shut Harden down.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't have that option.
Just best estimate, unless you guys know this answer already. Where do you guys think you are in point differential in the Eastern Conference?
I'd say 10th.
Okay. Trill, do you have a guess?
6th.
You guys are 5th in the Eastern Conference in points differential right now. So
but that's when
I don't know.
Healthy.
But have they been?
Well, not really.
Everyone's been out. It's what I'm saying. And I get that all 3 of them are out right now, which is particularly bad. I think this is. I just think it's a little ridiculous.
Actually, I was here to come on here before the Embiid thing came out today and be they started 1-4, and then Harden and Maxey got hurt. They haven't played together since they were 1-4.
Yeah,
and they're 8-8. So,
and Embiid played like shit for the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. That's
it's not awful, but the Embiid thing does worry me because now you have this easy stretch, which was supposed to be easy, that's now not going to be easy, followed up by a really tough stretch.
I guess, but I also think you guys are selling short your talent in that I don't think you guys need to worry as much about soft stretches and easy stretches, especially once everyone is healthy again. I think you guys are going to have the horses to run with a lot of these other big name teams. I don't think you guys are going to need to worry about are we going to be healthy enough for the Suns? I don't know. I just think you guys are in a good shape to win a lot of those type of games. I don't know. I just think the East is that. I think the thing that you guys are probably losing is the chance at the 1 seed, which hurts the championship hopes. But I think ultimately you guys are I don't think it's going to be a disastrous season by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I don't even think we're in the championship. We're not. We can't even be considered in the conversation. So I don't even me and Mike have been joking we would kill someone just to get a conference finals appearance. We're at that level of the process.
They make it. The Sixers make it so hard to talk with other fan bases. You can't say anything. They say you haven't made a conference finals in 22 years.
The Kings have made one more recently, which is just an astonishing accomplishment.
That is a pretty wild fact.
Yeah. It's insane, but I do think that the depth that we have now is for example, a lot of guys, and someone that we'll talk about right now, which is PJ Tucker. A lot of guys on this team just really can't function without the best players. Everyone on this team, except for Shake Milton and Furkan Korkmaz, are better in a complementary role. PJ PJ Tucker was built for a complimentary role. Tobias Harris was built for not even built for a complimentary role, I shouldn't say. But
I can't believe you're saying this about Montrezl Harrell. Long thrived as the man. So much so he got Doc fired.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
that's actually a good point. Yeah, the offensive engine, Montrezl Harrell.
Right.
But like DeAnthony Melton, love DeAnthony Melton. He's not an on-ball initiator, creator type. Like Daniel House, everyone that we have, George Niang, is built to play off of the best players. And the way that they stole some games last year when these injuries piled up at the beginning of the season when they didn't have Ben Simmons and Embiid was out and sometimes Maxey wasn't playing, was they had crazy good ball movement. Everyone was connected. Shake and Furkan had random good games and kind of kept them afloat at the beginning of the season. They famously I think that was really like the thing that ended the Blazers. I don't know if you remember that game, Mike, but we played the Blazers. Dame and CJ were both healthy, and we were playing against them without. If I remember correctly, I don't think Maxey.
I think Maxey was in.
Okay, Maxey
Tobias, but it was before Maxey was Max.
Yeah, and Ben was not on the team because he wasn't playing that year. So they beat them at home, and Andre Drummond had an incredible game. Like those kind of games, they can steal some for sure, but it's just a lot easier when you're putting these complimentary role guys around like PJ Tucker. Yeah. And this is something that me and Mike have been talking about for a little bit now, which is like it feels like every year we have one guy who has major flaws and red flags that stand out, and certain people scream about it, like with the Ben Simmons stuff, and I can't even say I was one of those people. But I was doing it with Matisse Thybulle a year ago, where it's like, if you can't score, if you can't do anything on offense, if you have no offensive utility in the half-court setting, I just don't see a way that you can play in the playoffs. And PJ Tucker now has 3 straight scoreless games playing in starters minutes. He has scored 2 points. Mike, what did you say earlier? How many points has he scored since James Harden was injured?
So James Harden went out on November 2nd. It's November 21st. That's a while ago. Since that time, PJ Tucker has 15 points and 17 fouls.
Cooking.
He's absolutely cooking. And I do think that PJ is heavily reliant on, and this is something that I've always said, and it was one of the reasons why I never wanted to trade for PJ Tucker before. You can go back and you can listen to my podcast from right before he got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. And I said, PJ Tucker has 0 shot creation ability. He has 0 ability to thrive without 2 high-level shot creators, which the Sixers don't have right now. And he's essentially offensively, he's a Harden and CP3 merchant. And that's kind of who he has been when he's thrived at the best parts of his career. Now, he can shoot corner threes, but that is literally it. He can offensive rebound, but like when you have Joel Embiid as your best player, like I know everyone wants that, and he can play in the dunker spot sometimes, but like that's not something that you ideally want your role players to be like the best at when you're playing with Joel Embiid. Defensively, he helps a lot. But my whole thing here is that I feel like everyone points to Milwaukee and they point to Houston and they point to Miami. And 1, I don't even think he's the same player that he was in Houston. And 2, I just think that the reason why he was able to thrive in Houston was because he had 2 elite shot creators in Chris Paul and James Harden. And in Miami and Milwaukee, he was part of elite defenses, and he can be a part of an elite defense, a switching defense. He can do multiple schemes. That's very helpful and very useful, but I just don't think that he can be like one of the 2 best defenders on an elite defense. And that's what we're asking him to do right now and cover up mistakes for other guys. Like I view PJ Tucker as not a clean fit. I view him as someone who's going to really struggle in the playoffs because I don't think he's the same player that he was, and I don't think that it's the same situations that he was in before. So like I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit talking to people, and they're like, it's fine that he hasn't scored in the last 95 minutes.
Yeah, like there's a middle ground to PJ Tucker is not going to score 12 points a game. Like, okay, sure. And the guy doesn't shoot the ball. There's a middle ground. You can't have a guy out there who just scores 0 points in 3 games and takes 2 shots in 3 games. It's absurd. Like, it's not going to work. And even the corner three, he doesn't take corner threes anymore. He takes like one a game.
Yeah, he won't even take any other kind of three. Like, it's not even like Danny Green where he could attempt an above the break for three. He doesn't try them at all.
He just stands in there and he doesn't do anything. I feel like in the Miami, this might be the Sixers over. Like, I feel like in that Miami series last year, he did a lot of cutting off ball stuff. I remember he killed us with that little. He'd catch the ball at the 3-point, pump fake, drive into a little floater.
Yeah, I
just remember that he killed us. I haven't seen that at all.
Also, like, we were like the worst offensive rebounding team in NBA history last year. So, or I'm sorry, defensive rebounding team, and he would just kill us on the offensive glass.
Yeah, and but like especially with the defense, if we were playing the playoffs tomorrow, we just say we'd have like PG Tucker guard Tatum for a 7-game series. Like, what? That's not going to work. Like, what is Daryl expecting there? And I noticed it in like the first game of the season against Tatum. I was like, oh wait, we don't have anyone else to guard Tatum. Like, this is what it's going to be every night. He's 37 years old. Like, the guy was born in 1984. Like,
oh my God. Like and when they signed the contract, we all knew that part of it was ridiculous. The fact that they signed him to a 3-year deal.
He's got 3 years left.
But we expected him to be and that's what. And people are saying, oh, well, first off, most of the people that were tweeting at me are people that don't even watch the Sixers. They're like, well, why'd you sign PJ Tucker? You know that he wasn't going to do this. He'll do other things well. And it's like, he can't score a single fucking point in 3 games. Like, I don't know. That seems concerning. And then on top of that, you have the fact that, like, they signed this 3-year deal, and it's like, well, what were their other options? And it's like, look, I'm not going to sit here and act like there were okay. And this was something that I said to someone.
Like, we're not talking about a vet minimum here.
No, it was at $11 million a year. And on top of that, not only do you have the $11 million a year, but how come we're never in the conversation when a wing becomes available? Like, not even a room. Like, I can't even get a fake shams. The Sixers are interested in Jeremy Grant. The Sixers are interested in Jay Crowder. Like, it's always like, no, we're good. We're good with Tobias Harris and Jay Crowder as our only. Or I'm sorry, Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker as our only playable wings in the starting lineup. And, like, honestly, Tucker's more like a big, if anything.
Yeah, like, Tucker's not. I don't even consider Tucker a wing, really.
No,
he's pretty cleanly a power forward. Like, I would say, but, like, so. Do you guys want me to talk you off the ledge kind of things? Because I would say he was pretty dog shit in Miami last year until the playoffs came around too. So, there is that. Good. Was he? I don't think he. I do not. I remember him looking awful when the Celtics played him in the regular season, and then he was pretty good in the playoffs. Like, he was doing. I think because I mean there are some things because I think PJ Tucker's big value add as a power forward guy is is rebounding, like specifically offensive rebounding, which if you're playing a big like Embiid with him, that obviously mitigates that a little bit. Like, because that's what he did. He's the small ball center, he'd be getting, you don't end up as damaged as you normally would be when he's that other thing. But I would also say to your point about defenses and switching and stuff like that, is this really how you guys are going to play defense all year? Like, what happens when Doc gets fired, I guess, is my thing.
I don't think he's going to get fired during the season
anymore. I don't
think
he's getting fired.
This is the most black pill thing. This is the darkest thing you guys have said.
How is he going to get fired? Like, I don't know.
They're going to call him and say your services.
I think at this point, if Doc gets fired, if Doc were to get fired, I think it'd be at a point where it's too late because he's not going to get fired this stretch where everyone's hurt. Yeah. And if everyone comes back and they're still struggling enough that he gets fired, you're probably looking at like 15-22 or something.
Yeah. And like you're that far into the season, like it doesn't feel like a hey, let's turn around our season move. At that point, it's more like, hey, let's salvage it so we can make the play-in type shit. I'm not trying to get too black-pilled here because I actually am of the mindset that if the Sixers were able to do one of two things, which I don't think are possible in season. The first one is acquire a starting level. Like, I think they would just be better off if they just traded, if they could somehow figure out a way to trade for Jay Crowder, who seemingly is just like been available for 3 months, and like the Suns are refusing to trade him, and maybe they have no interest, and that's why there have been no reports. But like from everything I've heard, they've had no interest in Jay Crowder. But like having a volume guy like that, and I know him and Tobias are a little similar, but like having a volume guy like that, and then having PJ be the first guy off the bench makes a lot more sense to me, because then you can play him as that small ball 5 more often, and I think that's where he really will thrive.
I don't think PJ should be playing more than like 20 minutes a night at this stage of his career.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. But here's the other thing though too, is I really don't think you guys are going to fall that far behind. Like I don't think like NBA players are by and large pretty good like these times, and just the regular season. This is why the Memphis Grizzlies were frauds last year. Like there's something to be said for it does not work in the playoffs. You get smacked like this in the playoffs, but there's something to be said for having a team so bereft of talent that they literally don't know how you're going to try to score the basketball. That like really fucks with defenses. If they don't come in, they don't have a scouting report that's like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown or Jimmy Butler and then bam, you know. If you're coming in and you're like looking at your 76ers scouting report and it's like, okay, Shake Milton and George Niang, you know,
let's go.
How do you key off on that? But I'm being kind of serious though, because I really do think that like fucks with you, and I think they're going to do better than you think they will, just because that like you get an egalitarianism to your offense and to the way that the game is played. You've got guys who are hungry, who are fucking, you know, making $8 an hour or whatever it is.
NBA minimum wage,
guys. Yeah. These two-way contract guys and stuff like that, they're going to be busting their ass like in the thing. So I think they will probably not get much above 500, but I think it's going to surprise you how okay you guys are going to be in the regular season doldrums with this mishmash of guys.
Well, Tobias and Doc finally get their 2018-2019 Clippers run back with a bunch of
Boban in here.
With Trez.
Yeah, Trez.
Yeah. Can you guys send us Gallo?
Yeah, if you want him. He's dressing in a very interesting manner. So it's he looks like a shark from the West Side Story. Like there's a new West Side Story. This Gallo is going to be the when you're a jet, hey, now snapping and everything like that. Oh God, that was like one of those. I know this is fucked up, but I'm like, this is what we had a rare good luck injury for the Celtics.
Oh, because now Sam Hauser.
We would have buried Hauser, and he's like incredible. We finally got our Miami rat mode.
Just guy. Something that would never happen to the Sixers.
Actually, that's not true, because Maxey would have not have played if it. Okay.
No, I'm just talking. I'm talking about a guy named Sam Hauser developing into a good.
Oh yeah. No. The Sixers don't even. We have guys that like theoretically fit on the team, and we're like, go play for the Thunder, Isaiah Joe.
Yeah.
Don't even. We'll just keep that roster spot open. It's not like injuries will ever happen. We don't have to worry about that.
Wait, did they waive him for a roster spot that is still not filled?
Yes.
And it's also not like
Morey's washed, dude. He's washed.
Oh, he's so washed. He loves.
He's
crypto.
So washed.
Was it a tax?
So true.
No, it can't be a tax thing.
It was a tax thing.
How? They don't calculate that till.
Well, it wasn't a tax thing, but they still would have had to pay him because his salary would have been guaranteed by like December or something.
So $2 million.
I'm aware. I'm telling you.
Morey's having a tough couple months financially. With
I was just gonna say that FTX thing really wiped.
He's got to save some money.
Yeah,
it's true.
Elton would never let this happen.
I didn't realize.
He told Josh Harris to invest in some bad things, and here we are.
Oh my God! Wow. I didn't realize there was an open roster, but that's pretty bad. I remember you losing your mind over it.
He has an open roster spot, but it's a good thing our 14th guy isn't a total no-show that you can never step on the NBA court.
Oh wait. Jaden Springer. He literally doesn't. I mean, we're basically doing what the Warriors are doing right now, except the Warriors have the worst tax bill in the history of the NBA, which is they have Andre Iguodala, who literally will never play for them, and we have Jaden Springer, who's
Andre Iguodala would play 35 minutes.
All right, I'm gonna plant my flag here, and I might look insanely foolish, but this is gonna be me trying to win some of these the
sickos
the Sixers hog slops. I think this is who I think is saving the season starting tonight. Matisse Thybulle, baby, he's back.
Tomorrow.
Oh, I thought it was tonight. It's not tonight.
No, it's we're recording this Monday. It's on Tuesday. Yeah. No, Sixers do not play tonight. So yeah.
Thanks.
So your calculations are off. So Thybulle will not be saving the season.
Why did I see so much Ben Simmons stuff today?
Look. Yeah. Well, because they won last night and then they play tomorrow, and
gotcha.
And he had like his cheeky little answer about because he knows that the Sixers fans are going to be wild tomorrow night. But like, I feel like they will be, just because I went on another podcast and they brought this up, and we were talking about how most teams have rivals, and he was like, I feel like Philadelphia, they don't really have teams as rivals, if that makes sense. He's like, you guys just have players as rivals. He's like, Ben Simmons, Carson Wentz, JD Drew. He was like going through like the history of players that we have a grudge against.
Philadelphia and Boston are the same cities, but just lawful and chaotic.
One city is very good at sports. The other city is not that good at sports.
Well, no, it's lawful belligerence and chaotic belligerence is like the other. Like Boston is thin blue line, fucking saluting thumbs and hats, and then Phillies is eating the horse shit at the Eagles parade and like throwing batteries at Santa and like
you confused your stories in your head there. We threw batteries at JD Drew, who I just brought up, the baseball player. They threw snowballs at Santa in the 60s, and my dad still justifies that by saying it was a really shitty Santa.
Yes, it was. And JD Drew had the audacity to not want to play for the Phils. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
How could you not want to play for the Phils?
There's something mentally wrong with that, man. I think that is
how
totally
could anyone
fair.
not want to play for the Phils? Speaking of, I got to get stuff. Chaz McCormick, you're talking about players as rivals. What a fraud Chaz McCormick is. Do not call yourself a Phils fan. All right. I just had to get that off the chest.
Agreed. I don't know who Chaz McCormick is, but agreed.
No Phils fan who was there in 08 and 09 would sit there and do what Chaz McCormick did. That's all I'll say. Fraud.
Oh, was he play for the Astros?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Sore subject. We won't get into it.
He made that catch.
Oh, yeah. He made that. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Fraud.
Sorry. I remember I was a bandwagon fan for 3 weeks.
I will say, like, I mean this earnestly. I'm rooting so hard for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl because I cannot.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'm alarmed for the.
I'm not. I love the Birds. The signs are all there for just a devastating playoff loss. Like I can feel.
I'm rooting for not Cowboys. It. Cowboys is not the one that can't happen to you guys.
I don't think we'll. I think we're gonna lose. I think we're gonna lose. I think it's going to be Niners in the NFC Championship game, and we're going to lose the most painful game ever.
Oh, I think the Cowboys have I've been saying, even though they lost to the Packers, I've been saying for 3 weeks, I think the Cowboys have the best chance of beating the Eagles. I do. I think their defense is really good, and I think
the Cowboys are good. The Niners. I just have this vibe. Yeah. We haven't had a devastating home Eagles playoff loss in like 20 years.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, since the Panthers, right? Oh no, they lost in the first round to the Packers when they.
Yeah, I'm talking like really devastating though, like NFC Championship game.
True. Yeah.
Niners,
I mean that Eagles team was not very good. That lost to the Packers, like they kind of snuffed their way into the playoffs. Yeah.
Jimmy G's going to come in here and beat us, and it's going to be the worst thing ever.
Oh God, please stop.
I don't.
Jesus Christ.
This is very, very tragic.
Mike might be more black-pilled than me right now.
I'm not saying like I believe in the Eagles. I think they're the best team in the league. I'm just the feeling I get. We're due for a devastating playoff loss for the Birds. We're due.
Well, you're unbelievable.
And the Niners have that feeling. I will say if we get to the Super Bowl, we're not losing to the Chiefs or Bills. Not happening.
Well, put it in. We'll rack it up. Matisse Thybulle coming out party. All of a sudden, Matisse Thybulle shooting a 3, shots looking good. He's vibing. 20 minutes a game.
Me and Mike, the day one Thybulle believers on this podcast, are going to agree with you on that. I do think that it is funny that So a few things here.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it is funny that they hyped up Thibault all offseason, and then he's like literally barely been in the rotation to start the year.
Thibault, the only NBA player who didn't get to work on his game the last couple of summers.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that he was personally held back by COVID.
He's the only NBA player that played in the Olympics.
Yep.
No one else played in the Olympics.
Yeah. Only NBA player who was affected by a pandemic. How's Jason Tatum doing this year, Sam?
Okay, well, here's the thing though. Jason Tatum did play like dog shit last year, and was great this year. So
Matisse Thybulle's going to be an MVP candidate, is what you're trying to say.
Look, I'm just saying there's options if Doc goes there. Like, I don't know if Doc, like, the thing with, I never know what's going on with Doc. You know what I'm saying? Doc is the ultimate wild card. I feel like he is like the arbiter of misery in so many ways, in that, like, he is Thanos, where it's like perfectly balanced, you know, like he's got the little thing like of like good decisions and bad decisions. Like on the one hand is too many bad decisions to get fired, or too many good decisions to like actually make the team good.
Yeah.
So, that's
when we almost came back in that game the other night, I was like, this makes sense to like Doc with Embiid and a bunch of scrubs basically almost beating the Timberwolves makes sense to me. Doc winning a big game. Like, honestly, I was more surprised by the fact that they pulled off the Milwaukee game than anything else, just because Doc in these games, we'll see over the next few weeks, because I do think Shake and Furk are probably the only two players on the team that are actually better when the stars are out, because they get to cook and they get to think that they're fucking Luka and Devin Booker. But I also think that it's just, like, what are you gonna do? Like, there's just not enough talent.
Well, but the Bucks didn't have Chris Middleton. The Bucks didn't have Chris Middleton.
Well, the Bucks didn't have
Chris Middleton.
Please ignore the fact that Hart, Maxey, and Tobias were out of that game. So.
But they didn't have Chris Middleton. Stop it.
You can't say those things. Yes,
now Chris Middleton.
Well, the Sixers did beat the Bucks without James Harden last year in Milwaukee, but to be fair, Brook Lopez didn't play that game, and he's their
but he's
the best player on the Bucks.
That'd be like us complaining about not having
Brook Lopez,
which I know we do.
Best player on the Bucks.
I was gonna say Brook Lopez is now the second best player. So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, he is like very good, but also like any time that he misses, I'm sorry.
He should also be investigated. There's something going on there.
Yeah. How do you have back surgery
36
in your
years
mid-30s and then you get better? That has never happened once in the history of sports.
Well, he loves Walt Disney, so this is an adrenochrome.
The Milwaukee Bucks should be investigated. I actually think all 29 teams except for the Sixers should be investigated, because clearly there is something going on.
Yeah, every player gets worse here that shows any promise from a young age, except for Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey.
There is something going on.
Yeah, Philly confirmed the only team that's not using adrenochrome. So
that's true.
Investigate Pat Riley for his connections to Florida moguls.
So you're telling me
hedge funds?
You're telling me that Doc Rivers was campaigning for the Lincoln Project and he can't get us any adrenochrome?
That is crazy. Well, they're not connected. They're not cool enough.
The president's supposedly a Philly sports fan, and not hearing that.
Really?
Biden could get us the adrenochrome hook,
but he's not really a Philly sports fan. He's a total fraud.
Yeah.
What's up, Mac? Mac, come on. We gotta gotta harvest it from the children.
We should let Biden coach for the next few weeks. I think we probably have a similar record.
Biden and Doc should switch jobs.
You know what, though? Biden, it would just be the same thing, because Biden is also the key guy to thinking you're going to get absolutely wiped out and doing just enough to keep you attached. So
it's true. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Also, Doc as president would be pretty horrifying for young people, I have to say. I think
that would be pretty good.
It would be,
awesome.
But he wouldn't be the Sixers coach.
He'd be like, we have taken away every social program except for Medicaid.
You got to pick your battles. Or
Medicare, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
65 and up is Medicare. Social Security and Medicare. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, the entitlements are gone.
Yes.
You gotta work for it.
So do we have any thoughts on Giannis being a enemy of the working class? Laddergate. That was a thing I didn't really care about, but I figured I'd bring up the fact that he's a class traitor.
I was disgusted personally. I think that you. So what do we know Greek people for? They hate curses. They hate hexes. Those sorts of things. Any superstitions. Do you ever go over to your Greek friend's house and they have a black cat? No, point taken. They hate that stuff. No mirrors being broken. So when you show cultural insensitivity by putting a ladder there and daring Giannis to walk under it and get 7 years bad luck, that's about how much longer his career has to offer. I'm not surprised he reacted. That's you see that in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. There's the whole ladder gang. Actually, sorry, that's in the DVD extras. I forgot about that part, but. Long story short,
it's there.
Insensitive, disgusting, typical classless Philly. Trying to put a hex on Giannis to give him 7 years bad luck.
By the way, apparently that was not. Was that true? That it was not a Philadelphia employee. Apparently, it was like a guy trying to get a camera.
I think it was apparently an ESPN employee.
Yeah, and everyone on Reddit was like, the people of Philadelphia deserve to die, those scum, because they said, hey, Giannis, can you not shoot free throws at this exact moment? And he's like, look, I have $250 million.
I'm so tired of Giannis.
I'm so tired of it, too.
The guy just does the stupid dad jokes. Meanwhile,
it's so annoying. It
goes on the court like a freaking madman.
Okay. All right. So let's say I give you guys that one. Let's say it is an ESPN employee. Okay. What's your defense for there being cracks on the court, which Giannis can then step on and break his mother's back?
My defense is
classless Philly again. Once again, trying to hurt Giannis's family.
That would help the Sixers.
I don't know. I mean, it is. Giannis is just such a weird dude. I think the thing about Giannis is just it feels like even more so than LeBron feels like kayfabe at all times. I think
he's hiding something.
There are skeletons in Giannis's closet.
Yeah. He's in Dexter season 8. This is big rival. He shows up like John Lithgow to be like,
the charming basketball player.
Yeah,
I should have known. Yeah, no,
I just the kayfabe thing I think is what bothers me because that's the thing, right? Is it feels fake. But also it's it's so perfectly designed to be an American sports story too, because it's wow, he grew up poor and then he came here and he's good at stuff. What would have happened to him if he stayed poor and wasn't good at anything? Don't worry about that. That's fine. He's good out and he did such a good job. He's allowed here. So I assume everyone in the Mediterranean area loves immigrants and nothing bad ever happened there. They don't do anything bad. Yeah, don't look that up. Just look at this guy. He's great. He's doing a great job. Look, there's a Disney movie. It's awesome.
No recent stories regarding immigrants in the Mediterranean either. Yeah.
Right. I just think, I don't know. I mean, this maybe isn't really Giannis's fault, but it just does. I think his, ascension, the way he's sort of held up, because he is a terrific player. I think he's the best player.
He's the best player,
yeah,
but
he's the best player
I think he's average at best.
Agreed.
But it just feels like the rictus Joker smile that's just not real at the top of the the NBA ladder, where it's just
well, I know he's full of shit because he loves to do an interview where he says, I want to be like Tim Duncan after I'm retired. And I'm like, do you remember what Tim Duncan was like during his playing career? Because he never sought attention ever. And you literally seek attention 24/7.
Yeah.
They made a movie about you, man.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I just want to let everyone know that this part of the podcast will be included on everyone's feed except for Nihilus Buck's feed. There will be a Nihilus Buck's version that has this part edited out so he doesn't angrily DM me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to get a Ted Kaczynski manifesto in my inbox going after Nihilus, but especially with the crying Chris Middleton thing, we might have to edit that one for NBA too.
I've wanted a Bucks Sixers playoff series for so long.
I really do feel like they actually match up pretty well with them.
I thought we beat them. I've thought forever that
They're going to beat us, though.
He's probably beat us.
Yeah, they'll beat us, but it will be a good
course
series, and I'll be like, well, whatever.
I said this last. No, I said this. I will never be what I said this last year before the playoffs. I can't imagine the Sixers like winning a playoff series that wasn't like the most obvious win ever.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I've just won a Bucks series because I think their fans are very big whiners that we don't even realize it because we've never really experienced it.
Oh, they are. Trust me. I mean,
yeah.
By the way, pot calling the kettle black on my end because Celtics fans are the number one. Boston fans writ large are just the most insufferable like pieces of shit. So I have no deceptions about that.
Second on the list, but they're up there.
But the thing about but just I think the thing about the Bucks is they're just there. They play such a gross brand of like playoff basketball too.
Yeah,
like I call it caveman ball because it's just so like physical and just you're just smashing. It's just so like it's not basketball.
I still think they're frauds. I still think they're total frauds. I don't care that they won a title. It does not move me at all. They're total.
You come out of any Bucks series talking like ball don't stop. Like I talked like ball don't stop for like literally 3 weeks after the.
Can't fucking dribble.
I'm a Sixers. I'm a Sixers fan. I know frauds when I see them. The Bucks are frauds.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. There's no way this ages poorly.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is. I will deserve every second of this when Bucks fans clip this to like own me,
and we'll lose in the second round, so it won't. We will not be affected.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be unscathed losing in the first round this year. To the Atlanta Hawks.
What if we get the Cavs and Rob is hurt again and they beat us and then you guys get the Bucks in round 2? And
that's maybe the only case. That might be the only case where, but I still think you guys would beat the Cavs. Like I
think so too. But I think that is hurt Rob Cavs. I think is the only thing that scares me. That's kind of realistic because that's the thing is Rob is hurt a lot. Like I think we could beat I think we could beat the Bucks without Rob, but I do not think we could beat the Cavs in 4 games. Or it would be very scary to go into a Cavs series without Rob.
Sure.
And I think, but this is just what I mean. I really don't think your guys' season is over. You've been pushed to the fringes of shit like this, where you need a certain scenario with a certain. It's bad.
To be fair, I've said this a bunch of the last couple weeks. At some point, you just lose in the second round too much, and it breaks everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Hawks series really I've been dead since the Hawks series, really. It's like that was kind of like the end of my spirit.
Yeah, but you guys had a wicker man for that. You put that all in Ben Simmons and
then we came back and we lost again.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see them sans Ben. Like that was
the Heat series.
Give me one normal
The Heat series didn't bother me. It just felt so inevitable. I was like, of course it's gonna happen.
Well, but also like Siakam broke.
I know, but like
I don't know.
I was so unmoved by the Heat series that that's part of the problem.
It was kind of scary. It was kind of like, why don't I? I was fine the next day. Yeah,
I was fine with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter in that game. I was like, this is cool.
You just feel numb at a certain point. You just accept it.
Yeah. And I was thinking, like, I shouldn't feel cool. Yeah. We're getting blown out in our home court. Jimmy Butler saying Tobias Harris over me.
Yeah, it's bad.
And I was cheering him on.
Oh, speaking of, so 2 things. One, I just want to preface this with, did anyone see the Keith Pompey Tobias Harris article today?
No, I saw your screenshots though.
Yeah. They were so good. Yeah. This is Keith's analysis. In the meantime, we'll continue to hear about Tobias Harris's name mentioned in potential trade discussions, and that only makes sense. He would be a solid pickup for a team that thinks adding a scoring threat would make it a championship contender. What team in the NBA is adding Tobias Harris and becoming a championship contender because they lack scoring?
I echo Keith's thoughts.
The Sixers also need a better fit.
You know who would become an instant championship contender if they added Tobias Harris? The Chicago Bulls.
It's true. For Zach LaVine? I don't even know.
I was thinking Caruso and Lonzo.
Okay, fair enough. Lonzo,
I think if you pair LaVine, DeRozan, Tobias, that's a scary trio.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah,
I'm not sure
trying to save his job.
I'm not sure how the Celtics defend that.
That's true. We've never we've never been able to defend Tobias. Like
Exactly.
so he's so open. He acts as like a facilitator in those games.
The
only
reason the Celtics won that series in the bubble was because Tobias almost died.
Yep,
that's true.
That's true. Yeah,
the
series was not over.
No, you don't know what was going to happen if Tobias didn't get hurt. You can't say for sure.
How many is it? 2 years left on Tobias? Is it this next year?
This year and next year, yeah.
Somehow.
It's the longest contract in the history of the NBA. I'm convinced. You know how Magic Johnson signed a 25-year deal? It's shorter than Tobias Harris's 5-year contract. Okay, so this is also from Keith. They could attempt to get a third team to participate in the deal. That squad would have to have enough cap space. I just love that Keith is explaining the concept of a 3-team trade. That squad would have to take to have enough salary cap space available to take on Harris's salary. No, they wouldn't.
Also, a missing child that Daryl Morey is hidden in an undisclosed third location with a bomb.
Oh, Daryl would not do that. 2015 Daryl would do that.
Yeah,
not 2022 Daryl.
Yeah, it's true. He's lost his edge. He's
no longer Riddler pilled.
Yeah, he doesn't have his fastball anymore.
He's Killer Croc pilled at this point.
But that team would surely want a lot of draft picks, something that the Sixers don't have included in the deal. It's literally him just explaining what we've been saying for fucking 3 years. You can't get off the Tobias Harris contract until it's expiring. If you want to get back anything that isn't, there's nothing. There's no trades. There are no trades. Believe me, I lose sleep over this.
I've been trying to do this for 3 years.
Yeah, the Sixers could also have to take back bad contracts in exchange for Harris in a deal, but that wouldn't necessarily make them better, or they could stand pat and keep him if there are no suitable offers. Time will tell what happens. He literally just explained every possible option and said, who knows? I'll just leave it up to fate.
To be fair, it's been a while since Tobias Harris is not a guy who often gets discussed on the trade market.
Well, the other day, Shams said that him and John Collins were available for trade. If you
and I reluctantly, that is a swap I would do, but
I had a Hawks fan tweet at me and say they want to do that. I was like,
"That's how down bad are they?" Jesus,
that Hawks fan, they shouldn't be down bad.
No,
10-6. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But no, if I'm a Hawks fan, I look at Tobias, and Tobias is a guy who fits really nicely next to Trey and DeJounte.
Agreed.
Don't ask me for reasons. But he does fit really nicely.
He fits.
He can honestly.
He's a good locker room guy.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. He can shoot threes. He's a better shooter than John Collins.
How can you as a GM look your community in the eye and say, I turned down a chance to trade for Tobias Harris? That guy is so good in the community.
And get off a long-term contract in John Collins.
Exactly.
I argued against doing this trade the other day because I was like, I just don't want to take on more long-term money. I just don't think is a good. Like, can we just acquire a big or just acquire a wing before we acquire a big?
I just need to see Woj tweet Philadelphia's trade Tobias Harris. I will cry tears of joy when that happens. It doesn't matter what it is. I have been dreaming of the day where Woj tweets the Sixers have traded Tobias Harris probably since November 2019.
No, it's true. I literally think you've told me before that you've had actual dreams about getting a Woj notification.
Maybe I told you that.
I feel like you have. Maybe there was someone else in a group DM that I'm in that said that they had an actual dream where they got a Woj notification that Tobias was traded.
Yeah, I don't. And I think I would have remembered that dream because
I was like,
it is a dream of mine.
This is a level of sicko that not even I have touched. So that's amazing. But yeah, Tobias is not getting traded this year. He's going to get traded in the offseason. And I have my main reason why is because the last two bullets that Morey has are fire Doc and trade Tobias. And
who
then
even cares? Who even cares?
But I'm just saying from I don't want to lose my job.
We're going to lose in the second round. This is all pointless.
All right. I didn't know I was having my dad on the podcast today.
It's just pointless, man. We're sitting here talking this offseason we can trade Tobias. Like, oh my God, we've had the same call for 3 years.
I never said that they could trade Tobias.
I know you haven't, but it's just been the overall narrative. Like this offseason will be another year off the deal. Like, we're gonna lose the second round again. Whatever.
How about this, guys? Tell me what you think of this, okay? I'm about to solve it right now. Tobias Harris, and PJ Tucker.
Yes.
For Russell Westbrook.
Yes. Absolutely.
I would do it. I'm not even doing a bit.
I
would do it
because
because
I would do that with no pick, like a pick neutral Russ deal. I don't know.
So you get off PJ Tucker and you get off Tobias Harris and you have cap space next summer.
Yes.
I'm not thinking about next summer. I'm just
No, I wouldn't do it. Here's why I wouldn't do it.
Because you're not getting that cap space.
No, I wouldn't do it because you're not getting the cap space. I do care because you have literally nothing to improve the team unless you can get guys in free agency, and there are no good free agents.
Team's never gonna win anything. So,
all right, Mike. All right,
I apologize. I'm not that negative about the team.
I would consider that if I were the Sixers.
No, I wouldn't consider it because you can't have.
I'm just thinking.
If you're going to Embiid and you're saying, hey, we have two guys that could even pass as wings on the team that are playable in some capacity, and we are trading them for Russell Westbrook's expiring contract, Embiid's going to be like, okay, trade me tomorrow. That's just what would happen. Like, that's a punt on the season move. Like, and if you're punting on the season, Joel Embiid's 28 years old.
Tobias is a punt on the season.
You could argue that, but you also could say like from
Look,
the
my
optics
entire
of the
argument
star.
Here, I know it sounds like I'm being very negative. I'm not. I'm just thinking ahead in the scenario where we lose in the second round again. What's the point? What's the point?
Yeah,
we're gonna lose in the second round again.
The point is that you at least have two contracts that, in theory, could help you at some point. Because you don't have contract, like you literally just lose that.
Like I said,
that number.
At a certain point, you just lose in the second round too much.
Everyone who's listening
can't lose
is kill themselves. Can you please stop? I need Patreon
you can't lose
subscribers.
The second round 6 years in a row. At a certain point.
This is going to turn the whole slop channel into the Jonestown.
You can't lose the second round 6 years in a row.
Quickly.
Oh, my God. At a certain point, you lose in the second round too much. 6 straight years losing in the second round is a lot of years.
I don't disagree. It's
I'm not even arguing your point. I'm just like saying at a certain point, you lose in the second round too much and it all becomes pointless. And you just, you're the East Blazers.
The Blazers got finals.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I'll take a fraudulent conference finals.
You're the Lob City Clippers.
And we even have the fucking coach.
You're a little worse than they were at their peak, and you lasted a little longer than you should have.
So I last thing on the Sixers. Morey had a deal last year that we think where he would have been able to get off Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Matisse Thybulle, and got back Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Harrison Barnes. And the Sixers would be in a way better position than they are right now. That's just kind of the reality.
Kevin Durant would be a Sixer.
That's stay woke.
He would be a Sixer.
Yeah, because then you could have literally tradable contracts. You could have Halliburton sent there. Like Halliburton is looking. Yeah.
Let's just hypothetically say on July 5th, they do that trade on July 5th. Katie still has out. They offer Buddy Hield. They offer that package: Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, whoever else they would have gotten that deal, and all their picks. The Nets
they have picks still. Yeah,
the Nets take that deal.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right, let's move on.
I'm cooking up a trade machine war crime real quick, just impromptu on the fly. Okay. So
if Tobias is involved. Yes.
So the Miami, what are the Heat's record right now?
7-10,
I think. Yeah.
7-10. Okay. So let's say if the Heat are like 10 games under 500 at the trade deadline. Okay, just something to think about. What if our
Duncan
Philadelphia 76ers have Kyle Lowry?
Cannot endorse this.
Duncan Robinson.
This will be tough
on
the team.
For Jimmy Butler.
PJ Tucker and Tobias Harris go to the Lakers. And the Heat are getting Russell Westbrook and cap space.
And a pick?
No, actually, we could revert to... No, this is a good deal. I would do this because we can then pivot to we're the only fan base that ever truly appreciated Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that worked out great with Al Horford.
I'm just saying, like the Because the Russ thing is only really valuable to a team that like is going to be free agent players, and they are fucked. The Heat are fucked. Like so, you get off of Lowry and you get out of the Duncan Robinson deal, which he's dead. He's not coming back. No picks go anywhere. Everybody gets what they want. Now, you might ask me, Sam, wouldn't the Lakers just rather have Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson in that trade? I'll get back to you, but probably yes. But it would have to be something like that. That's my best attempt at trying to trade Tobias Harris.
Well, the argument for why they wouldn't want Duncan Robinson is because they also want cap space at a certain point. And if you have Duncan Robinson's money,
you just said Joel Embiid would.
No. I'm talking about the Lakers. I'm talking about the Lakers. Why the Lakers wouldn't want to take on Duncan Robinson's money is that Tobias Harris has a year and a half left. PJ Tucker has 3 years at a much lower cap hit, and Duncan Robinson has like 4 years, $20 million each year.
Right, but Tobias Harris is on the LeBron timeline. It doesn't matter because he's on the LeBron, like timeline. So you're that's all clearing up at the same time. You're celebrating things a year.
The Lakers are happy again. AD's back. LeBron's hurt, but AD's back, and they beat the Spurs by a ton. So don't worry about them. LaFraud James. All right, let's move on to the preseason Mulligans part of the podcast because the Sixers talk is making me depressed. Let's get into, since Mike, you're the guest, give us your first thing you thought was going to happen this season that you would like a mulligan on. And if you would like the chance, you can also get the chance to change that to something else since it is a mulligan.
Okay. I would say the Wolves. I thought the Wolves were going to be a regular season juggernaut.
Yep.
I thought they were going to be total frauds in the playoffs, like the Jazz of 2 years ago. I just thought they were going to win like 55, 56 games.
Same.
And they suck.
They're just bad.
They're the 1926ers, except they don't have Joel Embiid.
And they have no flexibility.
None. Yeah.
They have zero. They have nothing they can do to get out of this.
They're going to have to trade Cat. They're going to have to do it. And then,
so is there a team that you would like to sub in for the Timberwolves that you would like to say like, oh, this team's actually going to win a ton of games or this team's going to be better than I thought?
Basically, I was just saying, I think the Blazers have a chance to be not what I thought. I don't think they're going to win like 56 games, but I think they have a chance to like compete for home court in the West, particularly with how
they're good.
The Clippers look bad. The Wolves look, obviously, like I just said, disappointing. The Warriors look bad. Like, I'm not sure even who's getting home court in the West at this point.
Yeah. I'm with you that I think that the Blazers have a shot at least. I do think that the injuries across the board, they're obviously too hard to predict, but the Clippers, it's just there's one major one there that you probably can't overcome is the thing is that the one guy that would help you get there. Like, I think the Nuggets will eventually get back to being like not a juggernaut, but they'll win a ton of games. Mm-hmm. I think that the Grizzlies, if they can get healthy, will probably end up winning a ton of games still. And they always steal these games when they have like four guys out. But
it's just the Luke Kennard injury. I know who you mean. Luke Kennard not being available is.
Also, you could have never seen it coming because Luke Kennard's never had like a career, like maybe some degenerative knee issue or something like that.
Clippers are another example of how you can absolutely have too many good players.
You could have too many good players, and you can't hoard all of them on one team and then make other teams worse in the process just to spite them. Thank you. If you literally gave me Terrence Mann would be the fourth best player on the Sixers.
Yep.
It's infuriating. I hate that team.
There's an agenda against the Sixers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. There is a conspiracy, and the Mavs and the Clippers are hoarding all the good role players, and we need to
so are the Pelicans.
Fucking seize the means of production. We need to redistribute the role players. I agree. Mm-hmm. All right, Sam, your first preseason mulligan.
Well, I'm perfect. I was a brain genius. I made zero incorrect predictions before the year because I'm the smartest man alive. So I passed. No, that's not true. I honestly, my biggest one, I wish I had gone more in on the Heat, hating the Heat. I've had that in my bones for so long. I've known in my soul, in my bones, since the Celtics lost to them in that bubble fraud series, that they're not a good team. I almost let them bump me off it again with rat mode, with like a new and more weaponized rat mode that we've never seen before, bringing Kyle Lowry onto that team. But I knew they were bad, and I should have tripled down more. One other spicy things. I'm gonna be proven right on my Grizzlies. I'm gonna be proven right on the Warriors. I'm gonna be proven right. Honestly, the only one I really feel badly about is that my Pistons and Magic optimism. I don't know what I was thinking there, because a huge part of my argument against a lot of these teams was just the league was going to be so good and deep this year, and then I got to these young teams and I was like, yeah, but they'll be fine. Yeah. So it just,
also, I think the Magic are better than their record, and I think once Paulo's healthy, they're going to be like annoyingly good. Like, I think they're going to win. I still think they're going to win like 30 games somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I still think, I don't know what happened to the Pistons, but like I still think the Magic could like catch the Knicks. Like I still think the Knicks are worse than their record, and I know they're like not good this year. Like,
yeah, they're 8-9, and I think if they lose to the Thunder tonight, they're going to fire Tibbs. That's my prediction.
Well, and then in which case they'd be better. But I'm honestly a little surprised by the Wizards, to be honest too. Like, Hagen tough, 10-7.
They do this every year. They do this. I know they're more talented this year, but they do this every year. Like, everyone was like, look out for the Wizards last year. They went 9-3 to start the year. And I'm like,
the difference is everyone knows Brad Beal's a fraud now.
Yeah, true.
Like,
Porzingis has actually been good.
That's
what I'm saying.
That's Kuzma's team.
Yeah. This Kuzma. No, like, honestly, I'm like barely joking. That honestly, it kind of is Kuzma's team. Like Porzingis, like, he's a bad guy, so I don't want to like be effusive in my praise, but it does seem like the Mavericks are just a bad organization. So like maybe it might be real that Porzingis is good.
It was just not a good fit. Like, I mean, like a pick and pop big that doesn't switch and do anything that like Luka teams.
Who is he not fitting around? Tim Hardaway Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the guy.
Luka.
Make it fit. Like.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I don't know. And it's just like, and they chase out Jalen Brunson. I don't know. The Mavs are one of the worst organizations in the NBA.
It is kind of funny that a year ago you could just look at it and be like, oh, well, and I know Porzingis was always hurt, and like it's easy to say that now, but like, oh, well, they have Porzingis who's like not going to make the All-Star team, but he might even be in the conversation this year for the All-Star team. Jalen Brunson, who's like really good and like was killing it for the Mavs in the playoffs last year.
Mavs are draft luck frauds, like throughout their history. It's Steve Nash, Dirk, and Luka. Those are the only. Every other thing they've done is bad.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but anyway, but that's my big mulligan. And I think if I had to change it to anything, I wish I'd doubled down on the Celtics being good more. I was tentative because of the Ime stuff and everything, and I wish I'd been more full-throated and less cowardly about that. Same thing with the Cavs. I really wish I had been more bullish on the Cavs. Everything else I feel pretty good about, though. Like, I did think that the Hawks were not getting appropriate respect. Everyone was treating them like an 8 seed, and I think they're more in line with Cleveland and some of these other teams, and I think that's bearing out too. Even though they got rid of Herter. Can you imagine how good they'd be if they didn't get rid of Herter?
I've been thinking about that. Yeah, because I actually have. I had my one of my mulligans was I had the Kings missing the play-in. And the reason I said was I thought their defense was going to be fucking terrible. And it is not good. It's like the 18th in the NBA right now. It's still not a good defense by any means. But below average defense, amazing offense has been a good strategy for them. And I'm happy for Kings fans. I think, what are they, 9-6 now or something? Or yeah, I think they're 9-6. And I think that they're very clearly going to at least make the play-in, if not one of the top 8 seeds. That might be a little bit of a stretch once everyone is a little healthier, but you always have one or two teams that just has really bad injury luck and they have an off year and they fall out of the playoffs. And I think that the Kings could end up being that 8 through, I mean, probably more like 7 through 9 seed. They might even get into the playoffs. I mean, in a 1-game series, if you have a high-powered offense, Herter's been incredible for them. I just want to say one thing. We posted the TikTok the other day of me reading the DM from the Kings fan who had said that it was a lot like looking at 9/11. The Halliburton trade was like looking at 9/11 from the perspective of a U.S. citizen. And
I get
I
it.
understand.
That's the thing is everyone's like, oh, that's hyperbolic. No, I get it. Everyone gets it.
Yeah. President Bush, they've traded Halliburton.
A second Tobias contract has hit the top.
A second pick swap is.
That was my next thought. Another pick swap has hit the
towers. By the way, Kings actually are worse than that on defense. Just a quick fact check.
I thought they were 18th on cleaning.
They are 26th, but they have passed the Celtics for number 1 in offensive efficiency.
So they have the best offense in the NBA, which I don't think they're
the best points per game. But they still haven't beat the Celtics at offensive rating, but they're very close. 119.3 to the Celtics, 120, and then the next closest is the Suns with 117.8. So,
yeah, I mean, they went all in on offense, and I was skeptical of that because I didn't think that the Fox Sabonis thing was going to be like 100%. I knew their offense was really good last year, but I kind of just chalked that up to them having a piss poor defense. And I'll say this much: I think that when we're talking about the Halliburton trade, I think a lot of people are doing the thing that they always do, like right after a trade happens, and they're like, it's good for both sides. Everyone wins. And I'm like, it's not, though. Like, we don't have to pretend like trading Tyrese Halliburton for Sabonis is a win. It's not a win in any world. It's just not. Like
trading Kevin Huerter for
that's what I was going to say.
Things. Yeah.
That's what made this not look so bad, is that they traded. The Huerter was gifted to them from the Atlanta Hawks for a top 10, a lottery protected first round pick.
I think the Halliburton Sabonis trade is like maybe the least justifiable trade in recent memory. Where the second it happened, it was insane. Like there was no. I remember thinking that Woj was wrong. Like there's got to be more to this.
All right, let's just think about why it's wrong, because the Halliburton thing is like Halliburton right now could make an all-star team at age 22, is on track. Like if you look at his stats compared to like some of the greatest point guards of the last 20 years, Chris Paul, James Harden, those kind of guys, they're comparable stats. Like at 22 years old, in his third season, if you compare their 22-year-old seasons, they're very, very similar. And the thing is that when you have a chance to have a guy who's going to make like 5 all-NBA teams on your team, which I think that Halliburton has a realistic shot at least multiple all-NBA teams in his career, if not better, then you don't trade that guy on his rookie contract unless you're getting Kevin Durant. Or you're getting like literally a super like you trade Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Paul George. I get it a little bit more because the Clippers were trying to move up their window and compete, and Paul George was a year removed from being an MVP candidate and all that stuff. Domantas Sabonis is never going to make another All-Star team. Domantas Sabonis is a good player, but you're never going to win a playoff series with him. And like if your goal, not even just like sicko contender brain, like championship shit. Like if your goal is to win a playoff series, I just don't see a way that the Kings are going to win a playoff series. Unless Keegan Murray's, and he's already 22, by the way, unless he's way better than we expected, they're never going to get another draft pick high enough to have a chance at another star. Like I just think that they'll never get a player as good as Halliburton now in the draft again. And like, that's a loss. That's a bad thing.
Like you said, I think you say their goal, if your goal is just to make a playoffs, I think that's their goal. The same way we look at the Eastern Conference Finals, that's how the Kings look at the play-in.
Yeah.
Just get me that 10 seed.
Also, I mean, the thing is, don't trade away your first-round picks from now on, because I disagree. I think you can get a good first-round pick in the play-in area. That happens all the time, that you get a really good player there. The thing is, you have to
all the time that you get a superstar, though. The ones we've talked about are like normally outliers.
Okay, but you don't need a superstar. Like you need like a Desmond Bain or something like a or Tyrese Maxey or a something. Sure. And you were, you're not, you go from you go to the upper crust of teams that might win, might lose a first round series, get to the second round, and then get smoked. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that's like impossible, but it's just the problem is the Kings keep doing extremely stupid shit when their other shit doesn't work out. Like trading Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis.
And also, like, my whole thing is, like, I think De'Aaron Fox playing as well as he has made it seem like that. And everyone says, like, well, Halliburton and Fox would have never worked. And I'm like, if your goal is to win a one playoffs, like, to get to the playoffs and win one series, you're telling me having two guys that are, like, borderline all NBA level guards would not work.
Even if they wouldn't have worked, you could do better than Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, that's what, if you had waited until this year and you said, "Hey, Tyrese Halliburton's on the trade block," like, you could get anyone you wanted or any number of picks.
You get Tobias Harris.
Seriously, if you had Tyrese Halliburton right now, you might be able to get Kevin Durant.
Yeah, they
I'm just saying,
I mean, the Kings would never do that, but
they wouldn't do that. But I'm just saying, like, that's the caliber of player you would have. Like, he's an extreme blue chip guy.
You'd be at
right at this point.
Yeah, you'd be like, whenever a superstar asks out, you'd be at the front. You'd have a package.
Exactly. Yep. You have some weird money. You have some contract. You have Harrison Barnes. Like, you can do that shit.
It's incredible to me how many people I've seen say it's a win-win. I'm like, it's not a win-win. It's just not. You don't trade a potential All-NBA guy for a sub All-Star and say it's a win. Like, it's just not how it works.
That's because it feels mean. You know, it's like a 6-year-old showing you a drawing. And it's being like, this looks like dog shit.
I think it's because people want to be like,
didn't shit their pants once, like in a trade, like that. It is less bad than you thought it would be. That's what they want.
I think everyone wants to be used to the Kings. Like, they're having this nice little.
I hope they make the play-in, and
everyone wants to be
like, they're going to beat the Memphis Grizzlies in the play-in, as is predicted. The 7-10 matchup. I said it in the opening. It's going to happen. It's coming.
And I've explained to Sam many times that there is not a 7-10 matchup in the play-in, and he still keeps saying it over and over.
Well, if the Grizzlies lose to the 8 and the Kings win 10.
Okay. That's the only way it could happen. It's still.
I just know the Grizzlies season is being ended by the Kings this year. You're going to thank me so much when we've got an ultra viral TikTok and that goes incredible, and we get 1 million subs until somebody digs up the 9/11 jokes, and then we immediately lose all the other guys.
Directly related to this.
So, fun Kings fact. Okay, 27th in defensive rating.
Sure.
Number 2 in offensive rating. What do you think? Where do you think they are in net rating?
Are they pretty high?
They are 5th. With the 27th ranked defense. That's fucking wild. I'm sorry.
Well,
that's crazy.
They destroyed the Nets, which I think they beat them by like 30 points. Like, that helps your net rating a lot. Yeah, but it is kind of unheard of.
I just think that's fascinating because that kind of flies in the face of everything. Like, for example, the Nuggets are 10-6. Everybody thinks they're playing pretty well. They're net rating neutral.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's because Jokic is a fraud. Please ignore the fact that the last 2 games 3 games he has not played in.
He needs to get serious.
So, with DeAndre Jordan. Just saying.
DeAndre Jordan's the best center on that team.
Okay, Mike, another preseason mulligan. Would you like to take anything back?
Yep, I thought the Celtics were going to have not a season from hell, but I thought they were going to get off at least to a rough start because of the Ime thing. They had a long playoff run last year, injuries, a Rob Will injury.
Yeah.
And despite Jaylen Brown's best efforts, they are right now the best team in the NBA.
Jaylen Brown's trying to bring down the vibe.
Look, you guys wish you had a friend like Jaylen Brown trying to take some.
I will take Jaylen Brown for Tobias right now.
I made a joke. I made a joke to my Nets friend that JB for KD. We gotta get everybody everybody in their perfect place.
Joe Tsai is itching to get the guy who's been basically calling him a dictator the last 3 weeks. He knows what he's doing there by saying that.
I honestly I'm telling myself, I'm lying to myself as a Celtics fan, and I'm really just saying that this is it's agitprop. It's union propaganda. Jalen's just showing support, going above and beyond the Call of Duty, kind of raising questions about himself to get Kyrie out of the hot seat.
Yo, when he went out of his way to defend Deshaun Jackson after his controversy a few years ago with anti-Semitism and said that players should still speak out when they feel things. That's just him being a union guy.
I don't remember that.
NFL, yeah. You can Google it and look
Typical
it up.
leftists. What are we learning, everyone? That's right. Come back to the Democratic Party. This is what happens in unions. Unions are no good.
So I do just want to say that there was a guy on Twitter. I can't even remember who it was, but he was making some
I know who you mean. Peter Dow.
Yes, Peter Dow.
Talk about the summer hoops.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
He was a member of Celtics Twitter who, when Embiid had the hard foul on Giannis the other night, which we'll not talk about. We'll put that under the rug.
He just stands up for arena workers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. He knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. He was this guy was basically trying to talk and make like a moral argument about why you can't root for Embiid because of this play. And he was doing this whole thing. And within 48 hours, Jaylen Brown tweeted in support of an anti-Semitic group.
This is my sports brain. You can't have sports.
It's so good.
I'm sorry.
I know.
You just have to rock with it, man. Like, I love Marcus Smart. I would die for Marcus Smart. And I despise Kyle Lowry. Like, do not ask me to square those circles. I will not.
Exactly.
That's a completely fair opinion.
Yeah. One is good, one is bad. Like,
there's a reason one is bad.
This
portion of the podcast will not be airing in Toronto, Canada.
I didn't say Toronto. I didn't say that. You said that.
This is a Rogers Media Markets will not be receiving this part.
Speaking of that sports brain thing, like with the Phils, JT took on Canada and won. And even though I don't agree with JT's opinions, JT hit it inside the park in Game 4 of the NLDS, and therefore I respect him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't even know what the Canada thing was, but
he took on Canada and won.
He took on Big Canada.
I don't agree with his opinions on this particular issue, but he did take on Canada and he did win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but I fully support whatever he did.
Was not allowed to enter Canada because he was not vaccinated, and then a month later, Canada lifted the vaccine mandate.
Wow. So ahead of his time is what you're trying to say.
And also, JT turned the season around when that happened.
JT,
JB. Some would say that Canada saved the Phils.
Right.
Topper, JT.
Well, it's like how the Boston Celtics weren't scared of the Nets last year. You know, they were not trying. It wasn't that they were scared they would fall to 4 and have to play the Raptors, and then some members of our team maybe wouldn't be able to play in that series.
And they also could have been afraid of those players having to step foot in Canada.
Right.
We saw what happened. We saw what unfortunately happened to Joel Embiid.
Exactly. Yes. It was celebrated in the streets.
Yeah, it was once again. All right, we're moving on before we all get killed. I feel a laser.
I didn't say anything.
Well, I'm gonna have
Canada, thank you for Chopper. Thank you.
I was gonna say we're gonna have Underdog put like medieval food testers like on Trill and I's like kitchens, like just have like a little guy in a bag eating.
How's Scotty Barnes doing, by the way? I didn't say that.
He's untouchable in a Kevin Durant trade for Zach Lowe.
It's
untouchable.
It's crazy to think about.
He's a 10-time All-Star. Scotty Barnes.
10-time All-Star.
By the way, another mulligan. I should have been going more all in on my if the Raptors had taken Franz Wagner over Scotty Barnes, they'd be championship contenders.
Ooh, I like that. That's a spicy thing.
I just thought of that right now.
Mm-hmm. It's my take. I wish I got more all in.
I don't think they'd be listening at this point.
Right.
So, Mike, do you know how many players in the NBA currently have 10 All-Star games that are active players? Because Zach Lowe said on his podcast that Scotty Barnes could make 10 All-Star teams.
I'd say like 4.
Correct. Those players are
Chris Paul, LeBron, Durant, Harden.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, that was good.
Scotty Barnes will never make an All-Star team.
Never?
Never.
He won't make a single one.
He's a wing. He's a forward.
The guy. This is Ben Simmons 2.0. The guy is averaging 13, 6, and 4. Ben Simmons, don't check me if you made an all-star team, by the way.
I love this.
He did make an all-star team.
I'm hoping for some Chiodo.
Actually, it's Tyreek Evans 2.0. I don't think he made an all-star team. Tyreek Evans, actually, I shouldn't say that because Scotty Barnes was not as good as Tyreek Evans rookie year or Ben Simmons rookie year.
Okay, all right, we're actually moving on now. I'm starting to get nervous.
The guy's averaging 13, 6, and 4, okay?
So, by the way, I watched the Atlanta Raptors game the other night. Scotty Barnes cost them the game almost twice in that game. It was incredible. It was an incredible thing to witness. They lost the game anyway, but it was largely due to Scotty Barnes. All right. Any more preseason mulligans that you would like, Sam, or do you want me to go?
I wish. No, you know what? I was going to say I wish I had been higher on the Jazz, but listening back, I don't know.
Who could have seen?
Yeah.
Also, like compared to we thought they were going to win like 20 games, like
that's what I'm
they're
saying,
obviously going to clear that.
Right.
I still don't think they're good.
No, they're not.
I'm sorry, they're not.
But not good in a way, just like good in a when you just have guys who aren't bad. That's. I wish I had. I think it was pretty clear looking back on it, despite what Danny Ainge wanted. And I guess we'll see what happens with trades, but it was always clear they were going to, at face value, just looking at the rosters, like clear a lot of the other really bad teams, like the Spurs and the Thunder and some of these other teams. Like it's crazy that they're better than the Thunder and Shea's playing the way he is. Like, but
to start the year, I still think they're gonna slip down the like I know that they've had this hot start and like Laurie's been awesome and all that, but like I'm not saying they're gonna blow it up.
Big.
What's that?
The sample size is getting pretty big. I mean, we're 17 games into the season.
What are they, 10-7?
Yeah, I mean, no more than that, or maybe
11. I think they're like 11-6, maybe.
They are 12-6.
12-6. Okay. Look, I'm not saying that they're bad. What I'm saying is I don't think that they're like maybe they make the play-in. Maybe like
I think they're like a 37-win team.
Yeah,
which is like
way better than we expected.
Worst case scenario for them.
Yeah, and I think that I think they're going to be in the play-in mix. Yeah, I guess that's more what I'm saying. That we just automatically, without thinking, just kind of put them in the tanking thing. And to our defense, this is a great year to tank. It's kind of bizarre how nobody is succeeding at tanking. Like the team besides the Rockets, like the only other team that's really bad is Detroit, and I think they wanted to be good this year. So,
although I think the Spurs are about to get.
Yeah,
they've had. I think we're gonna look up in like 3 weeks, and the Spurs are gonna be like 8-25.
I was shocked how far they've already fallen. Like they're already.
I think
6-12.
I have a question.
Yeah,
everyone thinks the Jazz are going to be in the play-in mix. We're also talking about all these teams that are in that general mix. We talked about the Wolves a little bit.
Right.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots that miss the play-in in each conference.
Okay.
Right now, the teams missing it are the Spurs, Rockets, Lakers, Thunder, Warriors. Let's say 4 of those 5 are true, and the Warriors make the playoffs.
Okay.
Who is missing the playoffs then? We have the Timberwolves, the Mavs, the Pelicans, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Kings.
The Grizzlies.
So you said they're going to lose in the play-in.
Well, right. By not making the play.
I'd say
I had forgotten about my beloved Utah Jazz. So
are we assuming that the Warriors aren't going to miss the play? Like I think that they're not going. They have Steph Curry. Like
I do.
I'd say Thunder, Lakers, Spurs, Rockets, Wolves.
You think the Wolves are going to be the 11 seed?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it like it's a stacked conference. Like I'm not sure.
Are we? Here's another thing. Are we sure the Mavericks are safe?
I think they're one Luka Doncic 3 weeks injury away from
even
tanking.
Even without the injury, they're not good. like they've got awful vibes too. Every time I look up, there's a new Christian Wood quote about like, I really could be playing more.
I definitely
Why'd you trade
think,
for me?
Yeah. I definitely feel like I shouldn't say that actually. I was gonna say I feel like the Mavs miss the playoffs. They make the play and miss the playoffs, but then I'm thinking in a play-in environment, Luka.
Luka would go insane.
Yeah.
No.
So I will say the Mavericks have now lost to the Pelicans without Zion and Ingram. They have lost to, I don't think Herb Jones played that game either. They've lost to the Nuggets without Jokic and Murray. Oh, and Aaron Gordon didn't play that game. They have lost some of the easiest. Like, they've been competing against the good teams and winning some of those games, but the losses are starting to add up where you're like, this is pretty bad. Mm-hmm. They need Tobias Harris.
They do. I'm not sure what the trade. DFS. We need DFS.
DFS and Reggie Bullock. Done.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
I don't make nearly enough money, deal. But yeah. Let's get it.
Luka for Tobias. I would do that trade.
Is the pick there on the Knicks protected? I'm trying to remember.
It's got to be.
No, I don't think it is. It was in the Porzingis trade. I don't think they have a protected pick.
Yeah, that would be very funny if they gave the Knicks an actually good pick by
or if they just were like, fuck it, we protected it top 3 and we're tanking for Wemby. Yeah. They're too good to do that now.
Oh, man.
Right now, the Sixers would be giving up the 15th pick in the draft, and the Jazz would be getting it. And it's actually Tre'Davion Smith would be drafted with it, and I would be very sad because I like him a lot. That sucks.
God, the Detroit's the worst team in basketball. How are they worse than
I'm shocked about Rockets? That's another one of my mulligans, probably. I'm shocked at how bad Detroit is.
Yeah, that was my big. Yeah,
I said before the season I thought they were going to.
Yeah, because you hate Kate.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. But they also have one.
He's also injured. Like I think they're going to be way worse without Cade because they don't have shot creators.
They have Bogdanovich. They have Ivy. They have.
I didn't think they were going to be like good. Like I thought some of like the Pistons are going to make the play and stuff was silly, but like they're going to lose like 65 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they're good. I'm just shocked they're going to be like one of the worst teams. I thought they would be like more in the Knicks tier. Like
it looks like they're 3-15 right now, and Cade's out for the foreseeable future. Like they could be like 5-35.
They're going to be.
Probably. You said Cade's going to be out.
Get fired.
That would help.
Cade might be done for the
wins. Would be
their wins will go up when Cade.
Wins would go up when Cade is out. So
I just don't see them as having the real question. The only question for me for the Pistons is, did they extend Bogdanovich with the thought that they're going to keep him? Or did they extend him so that maybe they can trade him and that another team is like, well, we'll have him.
I think they trade him.
I mean, if their season just goes, I was going to say, there's no point. He's going to help you.
I think they started with the idea like, all right, we're here. Let's go. We're going to have a Jazz-like renaissance. And then they just absolutely ate shit. It's like, okay, time to go the other way. Picks again. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, you could probably get a first for Bogdanovich on 1, 2, 3, like this year, next year, following year, like locked up. Like he's still 34, I think. Like he's looked really good this year. It's just, I don't know. That's tough for the Pistons, but I do think that with them getting, I'm like, if there's one team that can make Cade like the ideal version of what Cade needs to be, them getting Wemby would be incredible for him. It'd be incredible for the Pistons because then Cade could be the one of the best number 2s. He could be a really good guy. He'll never be a number 1. He'll never be that. but like, I think that they would have an amazing young core if they got another top pick next year. But I mean, I don't know. It's tough. It is tough how bad they are. Like I didn't expect them to be this bad. I expected them to be like, I think I had them as like the 11 seed or the 12 seed. They're going to be the worst team in the East. So, all right. My final mulligan here, because we've talked about a few different things. I mean, I didn't expect the Pacers to be this good, but also I don't know if this is super sustainable. So we'll see. One of the things that's funny, our boy Nate Duncan had a good point where he said a lot of people did their preseason predictions based on what we thought teams were going to do instead of the actual talent on the roster, which is true because we're like, well, the Pistons really want to win,
right?
But like, their roster isn't any better than the Pacers. Like the Pacers have some like real NBA players and like a real NBA coach.
That's what I was saying with the Jazz, with my Jazz point a little while ago. It's the same thing, like it's just like we didn't really consider because it's like just because Danny Ainge wants to lose doesn't necessarily mean that like Mike Conley wants to lose or
doesn't build the tank.
Yeah. So
yeah. But my biggest one, I made the same fuck up for the second season in a row, and I promised myself I wouldn't do it, and I did it anyway. Don't ever pick a team to make the finals that has injury concerns, ever, going into a season. It doesn't work out. I did it last year with the Nuggets. I thought Jamal Murray was going to come back, and then Michael Porter Jr. was fucking out the whole season, and Jamal Murray never came back, and then the Nuggets flamed out. I think the same for the Clippers this year. Kawhi Leonard is just not Kawhi Leonard, and that team isn't good enough to go far into the playoffs without Kawhi. So, like, I went from like thinking like they're in the finals to like they could lose in the play-in again.
Yeah, they could
very easily.
They could be one of the teams that could miss the play-in if Kawhi were to get hurt again and miss the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, even when Kawhi's played, have you looked at his stats?
Yeah, it's been good.
I've watched some of the games and I'm like, oh, he does not look the same. And like, I know he's like ramping back up and stuff, but like, it's got to be panic mode for them. Like they're the Clippers are going into panic mode, sources say.
So
shut up.
I have one more. Once we're all done, I have one more I want to close on.
All right, let's do it because that one was obvious. The Clippers are just not the team anyone thought they were going to be. It's tough. It sucks.
Yeah.
I'm really regretting coming into, and we can probably bat this around for, I'd say, anywhere between 4 and 7 hours the rest of our time. But I thought that Bob Chapek was destined to be the Disney CEO for at least the next 7 years. This is a sports podcast, so I think that what we should do, right now it's Monday. We just had football. We've got Monday Night Football coming up. I want to talk about this for maybe 7 to 12 hours. Just as sports fans, it's something, we want to talk about. The fact that Robert Iger's back, baby. He's back. And I should have seen this coming. I should have seen this coming with streaming. Everything. There's a lot to say about this. There's a lot of important things to say about this. Definitely something I want to listen to everyone talking about.
Agreed. I'll put this part at the beginning of the podcast.
Let's put this at the beginning of the podcast just to hook people. I'd say we want to give them a little taste, 30 minutes, and then if they want the rest, they can go to one of our other Patreon shows, The Holly. It's our spinoff where we talk about just what's going on in Hollywood.
I just want to say, as someone who's been following Bob Iver since his acoustic days, this is a big win for us Iver heads over here.
Yeah, the Iger, I didn't think, I thought he was done, and we're seeing like a Steph Curry type renaissance.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like I think of Chapek as the Wiseman. He was supposed to carry them into a new era, and he's just sort of, flamed out here. So
yeah,
really interested to see what he does.
Biggest highlight of his tenure though was 2020 bubble championship.
Oh yeah,
huge for the Disney brand. Mm-hmm. Really big.
So, Disney. Incorporating the Disney brand into slander like LeMickey and
it's been great.
That's huge. That's been huge for getting the brand out there. Almost unironically. I think I'm making that point sincerely. The more I think about it here, actually, now.
They should absolutely have a Disney shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Those would sell out.
Oh my God. Has a team ever paid a heftier price for winning a title? Like, that's got to be the closest a team has come to winning a title and regretting it, right?
No, I'm still like, I want the Pelicans to get Wemby just so that we can see, like, Wemby. They got Dyson Daniels. Like, I want the Lakers to like really be like. I just want it to get even worse before we can say that. Like, I want it to be like the worst return ever.
I was gonna say I want them to regret winning the title. Like, and I think that
they might already.
It checks a lot of the boxes. It's like not considered a real title. Everybody shits on it. Like, they've destroyed their franchise. They destroyed all the franchise work they did before that. They had had to have been 7 years of irrelevance.
Yeah.
Into what seems to be another 7 years of irrelevance we're heading towards here.
Yeah.
We've already got 2 or 3 in the books.
This is year 5 of LeBron. It's going to end up being 3 missed playoffs in 5 years of LeBron.
That's crazy. And they had to fight into the playoffs the 1 year.
And they lost the first round.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 4 years of 0 playoff series wins.
Yep.
That's with
insane.
LeBron James on your team, and Anthony.
They've
Davis
never
hurt.
won a playoff series in
Outside
like
the bubble.
in front of people.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God, that's it's incredible to think about it like that, especially when you consider that what the Pelicans have got already just for that trade, like what they've got straight up, like before even getting into like the Wemby scoot, like whoever's in the next draft conversation, we already know they've gotten Brandon Ingram and Dyson Daniels to start, and they have the next 5 years of their draft picks, I think, like.
Yeah.
This is going to go down as it's so funny because anytime that there are these star trade podcasts, I'm like, you just do whatever you need to do to get Kevin Durant. You do whatever you need to do to get, and now I'm like looking at the Nets and I'm looking at the Lakers and I'm like, maybe not. Paul George, like I bet you the Clippers wish they didn't trade Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, even though I thought it was the right move at the time.
That's what I'm saying. I think we are. I know Windhorst, credit to him, saw that this was going to become a thing and got out ahead of it with the, winning a championship never means that having to say you're sorry. I think they need to start considering saying sorry. I think the sorry is on the table now. Like
they're watching the 2023 draft and they're like, it would be really nice to have one of those young players right now. We might have to start saying we're sorry.
Is it worth winning one championship if you have like 12 years that are just utterly unfun? Like
I would
a slog.
I would question: is it worth getting to one Eastern Conference Finals for 12 years?
Yeah, you don't know who you're talking to right now. That's a nice bow on the conversation.
You guys get to watch Embiid like do crazy shit like what he did the other night.
I think if it was like almost any other franchise except the Lakers, if it was like the Thunder, then one championship's over anything. The Lakers,
they've already won many.
Like they want. I don't think they'd rather a dynasty.
Yeah.
But also, I last thing before we get out of here, I do just want to say that I think that part of the Lakers fan thing is just the ring count. Like, I think that is like them having one more. They have one more championship than the Celtics right now, right? Isn't that
tied?
They're tied. Okay, they both have 17.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, that in itself is like it's very much like the Yankees, where like the Yankees have only won one title in the last 25 years.
Both have
16. Okay. Yeah, the Yankees have won in the last 20 years. They've won one title, but they can say count the rings. We still got 27. You know what I mean? Like that's the last thing the Lakers have.
Rings are very valuable.
What I'm trying to say is that Lakers fans will be committing seppuku outside of the crypto arena if the Celtics win the title this year. So will I. I will be there with them.
I won't be around to do it. I will be gone.
On vacation. Vacation parody. We're all going on vacation.
If the Sixers lose in the second round again, I am quitting. All my focus is on the Phils.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, we'll have Mike on just to do Phil's updates.
Go Phils.
Phil's weekend.
All right, that's a good place to end it. Thanks, guys.
All right, go Phils.
Go Buffalo Bills.